I've been working as a security guard at this factory complex in Detroit for about 6 months now. It's not the best job, but it pays okay and keeps the bills covered. I sit most of the time watching cameras, making sure nobody's sneaking around where they don't belong. It's quiet most nights, just me and a bunch of empty buildings. I've been doing the overnight shift 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. since I started. It's rough and sleep, but I manage. The factory is an old place, used to make auto parts back in the day. Most of it's empty now, just a few buildings still running, and at night it's all shadows and echoes with rats scurrying around. Sometimes I start my shift checking the doors, making sure they're locked up tight, and then I settle into the security office sipping coffee and watching the camera feeds. Every couple of hours I do a walk around, shine my flashlight into the dark corners, and to be honest, it's boring, but it's money. But one night though, everything went bad. It was cold Michigan cold, the kind that gets into your bones, and I was on my third cup of coffee, feeling tired cause I hadn't slept good the day before, and I was staring at the screens when I saw something on camera 3 out by the back loading dock. It looked like a shadow moving quick, sneaky, and I leaned closer, squinting, but it was too dark to tell. I remember thinking at first that it could have been nothing, but I saw it again darting across the feed, and I just kind of sighed, grabbed my flashlight and my jacket and headed out. The factory is a maze at night, big old buildings with alleys between them. I shine my light around, checking the loading dock. The door was shut, no sign of anyone breaking in, and then I walked over to the fence and saw it was intact, with no holes. I figured maybe it was just wind blowing trash around, and I was about to head back when I heard something like a snicker, real quiet. I froze, listening hard, and then out of the shadows they came at me. There were 4 or 5 of them, all wearing masks like Halloween or something like that, and they were younger. I could tell by how they moved. Very jumpy and full of energy, like kids hyped up on sugar. One of them shoved me hard and I stumbled back, almost dropping my flashlight, and before I could even really work out what was happening, another one of them punched me in the gut so hard it knocked the wind out of me. I doubled over, gasping, and then they were all on me, hitting and kicking like a pack of wild animals. I tried to fight back, even swung my flashlight at one of them, but they were too fast. Someone grabbed it and tossed it away before another kid punched me in the face, and I felt my nose crack and I could feel blood starting to come down. I could taste it in my sinuses. I tried to yell, but they kept hitting me, knocking me off my feet over and over. Someone kicked my legs out and I went down hard, pain shooting through my knees and hands as I hit the gravel, but they didn't stop. Their kicks landed on my ribs, my back, my arms. I curled up, trying to cover my head, but it didn't do much good. The pain was everywhere, and I could hear them laughing loud and crazy, like it was some type of game. It was sick the way they enjoyed it. They acted like kids, but mean ones, the kind that had pull wings off of flies just to watch them squirm, and that scared me more than the pain. The way they didn't care, the way they seemed to like it. And this went on for what felt like hours, though it couldn't have been. And finally one of them smashed me in the head, and that's really when everything went black. Just a sudden nothing, like someone flipped a switch. And when I woke up, it was still dark and still cold. I was laying on the ground, my face pressed into the gravel. My head was pounding and my mouth still tasted like blood. I tried to move, but my whole body screamed at me. My ribs felt like they were burning and my hands wouldn't work right, and I spat out blood and some pieces of my teeth. They'd messed me up bad. I didn't know how long I'd been out. Those kids were gone, no sign of them. My clothes were torn and my shoes were missing. They must have taken them. Air Jordan's 96. I felt for my wallet and it was still in my pocket. Guess they didn't want money, just wanted to hurt me. I got to my feet slow and shaky, dizzy as hell, and every step hurt, but I leaned against the wall and started stumbling back to the office. I kept tripping, my legs weak, my ribs stabbing me with every breath, but finally I made it to the security office, fell into the chair and grabbed the phone. My hands were shaking so bad I could hardly dial 911. I mumbled something about being attacked, gave them the address, and then I just sat there waiting, trying not to pass out again. The paramedics showed up pretty quickly. The lights were flashing and they loaded me onto a stretcher, and they asked me what happened, but my jaw hurt way too much to even really talk at that point. They took me to the hospital and I spent a few days there, all bandaged up. Doc said that I had broken ribs, a concussion, fractures in my fingers, and a busted up face. They even pulled out some teeth and gave me some painkillers and said that I Was lucky that it wasn't worse, but I didn't feel very lucky though. The cops came by while I was resting, two of them, one older guy and one younger. They asked me to describe the attackers, but I didn't have much to give. Masks covered their faces and it was dark. I told them. They were young, fast, laughing like maniacs, but that was it. They wrote it down and said they'd look into it, but I don't think I ever heard from them again. I guess I knew they wouldn't find those kids. There are too many shadows in Detroit to hide in, and after a few days they let me go home. I was still hurting, and I couldn't do much but sit around. Couldn't work, that's for sure. I had two kids depending on me and I didn't know how I was going to pay those bills. My daughter, she's 8, cried when she saw me all banged up. My son, 12, tried to act tough, but I could tell he was shook. I told them that I had an accident at work and didn't want them to be scared. Knowing the actual truth, my sister helped out, coming over with food and changing my bandages, and she's a nurse, so she did know what to do. I hated needing her like that though, but I couldn't manage alone. Getting out of bed was a fight every day. My ribs ached, my hands didn't grip right with those broken fingers, and I felt useless, like I couldn't even take care of myself, let alone my kids. I kept thinking about that night over and over. Why'd they do it? Just for kicks? I ain't never hurt nobody and I only was just doing my job. It just didn't make any sense. My boss called and said that they were sorry it happened, said they'd add more security, maybe another guard, and it didn't make me feel much better. The other guards, when I finally went back, clapped me on the shoulder and said that they were glad I was okay, but I saw the worry in their eyes. Nobody wanted to think it could be them next. The cops never caught those kids and probably never will, and it tears me up to think that they got away clean and I'm stuck with these scars. It just ain't right, but what can I do? Life ain't fair, I guess, and I'm more careful now, always looking around expecting trouble, and maybe that's good, keeps me sharp, but it also showed me how quick things can go bad and how you can't always stop it. I just keep going for my kids, for myself, and I guess there ain't no other choice.